order to take a person down. You need to get past their head, you need to get past their hands, you need to get past their hips, and you need to get past any type of funk defense. And what do I mean when I say head, hands, hips, and funk defense? Well, today we're going to go through that and talk about those concepts in a little bit more of a granular level. But at a very high level, your opponent has to get past your head. If you have head position, this opponent can't shoot through this type of head position. You're blocking. And that goes for the same when you're in an open distance as well. So you're not always going to be tied up to your opponent, but how do you keep him from getting under your head? So if I'm watching my opponent, all I'm doing is mirroring where his head is right here. So if his head starts to go lower, I bring my head down to match. If my head stays up high, then my opponent has a lower level and has an opening to get past my head defense. But if I keep my head as low as his head, he can't get past my own head. Right here, there's no way he's going to get through my first layer of defense. And let's talk about our second layer here. Our second layer is hands. Say, for example, this person hits a snap down, moves my head out of the way, and then they take a shot. All of a sudden, I don't have my head there to defend. So our next layer of defense is going to be our hands. So you can catch things like underhooks right here. You can come down in order to down block as well. And you can snatch things like front headlocks, guillotines, what have you. And so that's going to be our second layer of defense. And our third layer of defense, if my opponent breaks through my head position, gets past my hands, they're going to be attacking directly to my hips. But we still have a defensive layer in our hips. A lot of people in Jiu-Jitsu oftentimes talk about going straight to this layer, where they forget that they have their head and their hands to defend takedowns, and they immediately think, oh, I need to go ahead and sprawl in order to defend this takedown. But your sprawl is actually going to be your third layer of defense. You can also use your hips in a variety of different situations besides just a sprawl. There's lots and lots of stuff you can do if your opponent gets past your first and second layer of defense. And if your opponent gets past all of these layers, which is not the best thing in the world, you still have a few things that you have left to try to defend, and this is commonly referred to as funk defense. And later on down the road, I'll get into more and more details around all of these different things. We'll go over all types of different hips defense, different tie-ups you can use to absolutely negate your opponent's offense. We'll go over tons and tons and tons of funk because that's something that I hold near and dear. But that's just a quick high-level view at our 3 or 4 layers of defense in wrestling.